It's funny how technology advances and then we all kind of scramble around trying to get that newest, latest, greatest thing just so that we can keep up with everybody else. Now, of course, today I'm talking about gear for creating content, but I see this a lot in everyday life with all kinds of things. Today I want to talk about 4K for content creators and why chances are you seriously don't need it. Not only do you probably not need it, but in the long run, it's probably going to cost you more than it's really worth. Now, I know I'm a little bit late to the party talking about 4K video. There is 6K, there's 8K. God knows what cameras they're going to come up with next year. Seems like almost everybody is making that switch from 1080p to 4K. I know I'm currently shooting on a 4K camera. Can you tell? Are you watching this on your phone? Maybe a tablet, laptop, desktop? All the screens out there these days are made with 4K capable screens, so why not shoot everything in 4K, right? If you scroll back through some of my other videos, one of the videos where I'm talking about the Rumble platform, can you see a measurable difference in the quality between that and this? I'm guessing that you aren't seeing much of a difference in resolution between my old videos that were shot in 1080p versus current videos that are shot in 4K. The reason for that is that YouTube, they don't automatically display videos in the same format that they were actually filmed in. If you're in the app and you look in your settings for default picture quality, chances are currently it's set for auto. For me, I've noticed that while it's on auto, it tends to display in like 720, and that is regardless of whether or not I'm on Wi-Fi or cellular. What you can do is set your defaults to higher picture quality. Unfortunately, that higher picture quality default is only going to go as high as 1080p. In order to actually view a video in 4K, you have to start the video, tap the three dots in the corner, select quality, then advanced, then go ahead and select 2160, which will give you full resolution for a 4K video. The problem is that's for that video only. The very next video that you watch, it's gonna go right back to 1080p if that's what your default is set at. Now, you don't actually think that people are gonna go through all that mess every single time they watch a video, do you? The answer is no. Most people are gonna jump on YouTube, they're gonna click a video, they're gonna watch part of it, maybe all of it, they're gonna move on to another video, watch part of that, they're gonna go back to what they were doing, come back to YouTube later on, watch a video, maybe part of a video. They're not changing those settings to 4K on every single video. Real quick before we go on, leave a comment below and let me know what you're using for your main camera for content creation. How many videos have you used it for? What kind of content are you actually creating? Are you looking at upgrading cameras? Do you feel like higher resolution picture is something that you really need right now? I'm just curious. I'd love to hear feedback. I think the content itself has a lot to do with the decision on whether or not you really need to shoot in 4K. I mean, obviously, using 4K sitting here at my desk is extreme overkill. Now, if my content is like outdoor type stuff, then yeah, 4K seems appropriate. But at the same time, chances are the person that's on the other end watching it, it's not getting displayed in 4K anyways. One could make the argument that filming in 4K is still a good idea. I mean, even if that 4K video is only being displayed in 1080, it should still look better than video that was filmed at 1080. I've tested this out. I've messed with the settings on all kinds of videos, checking resolution, changing resolution, and honestly, I'm not seeing a huge difference one way or the other. There's another argument to be made that as 4K becomes the standard, eventually what YouTube will do will make that their default instead of 1080. So why not gear up for it now instead of having your videos look outdated down the road? I guess that makes sense. A couple years from now, when 4K is really the standard for video on YouTube, your content will be floating around from right now. Somebody will see it and it's either going to look like a video from several years prior or look like a current resolution video. They might have more of a chance of wanting to click it. That's going to be heavily dependent on the actual content itself, though, wouldn't you think? Is the content timeless, or is it some sort of, current event type stuff that in 2 years is no longer going to have any relevance. Another thing to take into consideration are the costs. And we aren't just talking about buying a reasonable priced camera and lens setup. On average, if I upload a 20-minute video, it starts life pre-edit as roughly 40 minutes worth of video footage. That 40 minutes of recording could be anywhere between, 30 to 40 gigs of data on my memory card. So obviously you're going to need bigger memory cards. Not the cheap ones either. The cheaper ones tend to have crappier quality of video, and to be perfectly honest, they are unreliable as all hell. If I sit down and I spend an hour recording and then I go to plug into my computer to start the edit process and I find out that somewhere along the way my cheap memory card crapped out on me, it's going to be a pretty bad day. Not only do I now have to buy another memory card, but I've essentially also lost an entire day's worth of filming and I've got to start all over. The other thing about upgrading to a 4K camera is you better hope that your computer is up to the task of processing those 4K video files. I bought a new computer last year and it's been incredible for editing video, right up to the point that I switched cameras, 4K instead of 1080p. It's not horrible right now. I mean, it slows down here and there, but it's workable. Mind you, I'm doing simple edits. I am taking one long piece of video and I am just cutting out the parts that I don't want, putting it into one piece and exporting to YouTube. I very rarely add crazy transitions or music. I'm not adding effects. I'm not adding animated titles. I'm not doing complex adjustments to video speed. If I were doing more complex type video editing, it would be a nightmare. My computer would absolutely give up on me. I mean, I'm already debating getting one of the new MacBooks with the M1 chip because of the performance with editing 4K video. It's going to make my edit process a lot more smooth and cut down the amount of time that it takes. But there's another $1,600 invested into content creation. That's a decision that I'm going to put off as long as I possibly can. And then I'm going to sit down and talk to my accountant and make sure that it is a sound decision as far as my taxes go. If I upgrade my computer to better handle the 4K workflow, it's not just the cost of the computer either. There's bound to be other costs. Cables, adapters, and God knows what else. There's always more to it than a simple camera upgrade. It is literally a domino effect. How's that audio sound with the new camera? They don't all sound the same. Now you have better picture quality for your audience, but the audio isn't quite what you would like it to be. So guess what? Now you're up researching microphone upgrades. All the lighting that you're used to, how's that working out with the new camera? It's always something. You know, one thing leads to another, which leads to another. And the next thing that you know, you're $5,000 into it because really you were looking for one thing, better quality video. So the question is, why did I upgrade? Why am I sitting here in my office filming this video on a 4K camera that, after it was all said and done with, cost me right about $3,000? It's simple, really. I thought that upgrading your camera was just something that you had to do as you progress. I watched all the best camera for YouTube videos. I found myself deep down the rabbit hole of camera upgrades with an absolute lack of restraint when it came to punching in my credit card number and ordering a 4K camera. All of the points that I've made in this video, they should have been made in any one of 100 videos that I watched when researching what camera to upgrade to for my YouTube channel. I want you guys to understand that for most content creators, 4K is going to be a waste of money. Also, there are extra expenses and frustrations that are going to come along with that purchase. Be prepared for it. Any one of those content creators could have laid it out in their videos that 99% of people making content for YouTube don't need a 4K camera. But then what product are they going to try to sell you in their video? How are they going to get those hundreds of thousands of views? The ad revenue, the affiliate links, the sponsorships. They all have to pay the bills, right? I hope some of you found some value in this video. If you did, take a moment and give it a like. Hit that subscribe button. And remember, I am always going to give it to you straight. I am more interested in seeing people succeed than selling them a product that they really don't need.